square, you guys.
The rigor is certainly there.
You want to start sketching kind of using light.
So too are practical applications of what students learn in their core courses.
You will be happy if you dedicate your life to becoming a problem solver.
The new Benjamin E. Mays High School is the equivalent of an engineering work of art encompassing a network of steel and glass, brick and mortar, with angular and square dimensions, brightly painted walls, and plenty of natural light. Mays students complement the symphony of steel and glass with practiced voices, singing in an ancient language, or stepping in unison to a more modern tempo, all within an atmosphere of serious academic engagement and collegial harmony.
In life, you have to be able to adapt. Life keeps changing, and you have to adapt to its pace. And I think that's a life lesson that everyone should learn.
The specific reference here is to the transition that most Mays High School students experienced in relocating to temporary quarters for a year and a half before moving back to their newly renovated school on the hill. It was an invaluable practical real-life lesson for many students in managing major transitions and changes in life.
I think it's a classic example of children are extremely resilient. It was a traumatic move to move out of the building, and initially we had individuals who thought, well, let's do it the next year. But we had to say at some point, we have to make this move, and we're going to move out for a good reason. Students picked up, parents bought in, and we packed up. We moved. We made the move. We stayed throughout the duration, a year and a half, and we've come back to this.
Mays High School students have choices, including 5 academies to select from. The Science and Mathematics Academy is one of them.
Well, one of the best practices in education is to get the kids involved in the learning process, and you do that with hands-on activities. One of the things that we do a pretty good job in Science and Mathematics Academy is working with outside partners to bring the real-world applications into the classroom. What you're witnessing working with the architecture program is a partnership with Atlanta Center for Creative Inquiry, and they have a 6-week program that they work with the kids where they expose them to various architecture and engineering concepts. They go to Georgia Tech, they visit an actual architectural firm as well as a construction site. So they're able to take the concepts that they're learning in engineering and see it in action on the collegiate and in the professional setting.
One of the things that we work with very heavily in robotics is geometric ratios, such as trigonometric ratios, for the design of the robot to make sure that we will be able to manipulate all the elements of the different competitions that we compete in. I plan on becoming a math teacher, so working with robotics has helped me find a lot of information and scholarships to help better prepare me for my future going through college and into a career in teaching.
3 semesters away from graduating from high school, you know what college you want to go to, you know what you want to major in. That's 2 great things. It's good to hear that.
Mays High School students also have the option of enrolling in single-gender academies, including the Eagle Leadership Academy and Dorothy Height Academy of Leadership.
Our primary focus is twofold. One, to create a level of personalization. In other words, look at issues that are important in society, to our community, and to our young men, and be able to address them on a personal level that's meaningful to them. That's one. The second component is to talk about collegiate issues. Ultimately, our ultimate goal for this academy is to get all of our young men eligible for admissions into the top 25 universities. So to that end, we have conversations consistently about practices and behaviors and study skills that are consistent with those goals.
I've always believed in single-gender instruction. I actually started looking at this back in the 90s when I was enrolled in a graduate course. And then when I became a curriculum assistant principal, by accident I discovered that it really works.
A highlight in a ball. A three-dimensional ball is in a circle, right? That's a sphere. So you're working in the circle. Don't work straight across. Working round.
Mass communications is yet another potential focus area for Mays High School students.
All the children, regardless of what academy that they're in, they have to take English, mathematics, science, and social studies. they have to take a health or a physical education, they have to take a foreign language. And we try to, once they take the elective courses, we try, especially me for mass communications, I try to align myself with the fine arts department for the drama, for the dance, for the theater, for the chorus.
Good morning. Welcome to the Capital City Youth Bank of Mays.
The Business and Entrepreneurship Academy is another option for Mays students who also enjoy the convenience of having a student-run bank in their school.
Well, single gender academies, they specifically focus on leadership skills. The one thing I try to do, I'm more of a family feel person. I'm very personable with my kids, which is one thing that we do differently from most people.
We built several partnerships with the college and university system in Georgia, Emory in particular, Georgia Tech as well. We've reached out to them to have students and professors come in to our building to help our students with hardcore science projects, with science experimentation. Because even though we have good quality teachers in the room, we like to really exceed that and bringing in some of the brighter people in the country to come in and having that in our backyard, we want to definitely take advantage of it.
It is hardly surprising that the young people who study here fully realize the benefits they are receiving from their experience at Mays.
More than anything, I can say that the staff and the faculty challenge me to do more than I think I can, and they also support me. So not only do they challenge me, but they help me overcome my challenges, and I think that was a great part in transforming me from a freshman to a senior who's ready to go to college and step out into the real world.
When I first came into high school, I was really confused, didn't know my sense of direction. And with the teachers and the students, it really helped me learn how to work my way through life. I had teachers to help me and students going through the same things with me. So it really changed me. I was confused, and now I know what I want to do in life and how I'm going to do it.
We have a big game tomorrow. We're playing on somebody else's court, their senior night.
Whether it's practicing for the big game of the week or preparing for life beyond high school, Mays students are obviously experiencing the rigor, nurturing, and direction they need to be successful adults in a modern, diversified academic environment that works.
My background is chemical engineering. So I went to Georgia Tech and I worked in the pharmaceutical industry, and now professionally I spend my time helping you guys figure out if you want to be an engineer, you want to be a marketing professional, design professional, mathematician, scientist, how you can do it. This is actually a showcase for the 1080 Student Racing Challenge NASCAR STEM initiative. A lot of schools, I think it's like 8 schools in the Atlanta public school system, are implementing the program in their career technology classes. So they'll be teaching math lessons, physics lessons, and running an after-school STEM club. And STEM is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And so today, this is kind of a way to kick off the season, get them all excited about learning math, learning physics, using NASCAR as a theme. I became a better engineer once I started doing this program. So now, the first step is fun. You got to learn how to drive the car, right? When you can drive the car well, then your teammates can help engineer the car.
My car is traveling down the road, and all of a sudden I call into my radio and I say, "Wow, I am traveling here and the car feels squirrely." And they say, "Come in, we'll put some weight on the front." They change the springs, they make the front heavier. And what do you think happens? Now it goes down, and when it gets a little squirrely, the back tries to pass the front.
Most of the kids are not racing fans, but interestingly enough, they'll become fans over time. Once you begin to realize where the strategy in racing is, it becomes interesting. So these 4 stations are set up to sort of explore that. This one behind us, they're learning to drive. So we use 10th scale RC cars. The students form basically little mini NASCAR teams. You have to have a driver. So back here, they're just learning the controller and to drive and measure time and how that works. Over here on this station, they're actually looking at the force required to move a car. So it's talking about Newton's laws of motions, but using RC cars. So looking at a different surface. How much force does it take to move a car along a bumpy surface, a sticky surface? So it's coefficient of friction and Newton's laws. We've also got our partner over here, our partner here today in this exhibit. The people from NASA are over here in this space, and the students are getting to rotate through and learn also about wheels and tires and friction using an experiment at their table, and then working through a trailer to learn about all the ways that NASA has worked with the technology that drives NASCAR.
Well, we're actually trying to expose them to different things as far as the educational part of it, because typically a lot of kids associate NASA with the shuttle and rockets, and we want to let them know that some of the NASA spin-off technology that NASA has developed as far as with the NASCAR events here, with the tires, the lubricants, as well as things that they may see in their home that NASA has developed and given back to the industry so they can use and use throughout their life.
Right, the switch on this one. This is on. Switch is on the side.
Oh, this is the best battery, is that right? Okay.
The funnest thing about it was the NASCAR. We had an event where some people that worked with NASCAR came, and they showed us how we can race the car, how fast the car goes, how we can take it apart, put it back together, and just have a real fun time where we could learn from other people how we can really operate the car. It relates to math because you have to use math to figure out how many inches the car is, how fast the car goes, how can you figure out the diameter and things like that. If I see a car, I know what the name of it, and I know how I can work the car now.
So, same time next week?
Well, of course. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free tips to help you save, go to Feed the Pig.
A day in the lives of Toomer Elementary School students involves rehearsing for a major neighborhood celebration by showcasing their knowledge of Mandarin Chinese.
This is where your food comes from.
It also involves a hands-on science lesson outside the school's garden, where students learn what's involved in growing what you eat.
If you have a question about what one of your teammates did, ask them.
And of course it involves reading and English language arts in a self-directed and interactive fashion using a state-of-the-art Promethean board, complete with portable electronic interface devices that facilitate learning by letting teachers instantly know if their lessons are being absorbed.
We're rotating up. Okay, so whiz kids are going to go to the Promethean board. Academics are going to the leveled readers. Geniuses are going to antonym, synonym, and homophone. And scholars are going to the board game.
Students at Toomer Elementary School learn in teams and actually teach each other under the close supervision of their teachers, who foster an interactive and challenging learning environment throughout the school.
They are facilitating their own learning. I will start whole group without immediately break out, and it's just important for the kids to know what they're supposed to do instead of me giving them the information. It's important for them to be able to find the information they need, working together in groups, figuring out what they're supposed to do for their own. It works now in 5th grade, and I always tell my kids, like, you're leaving me after this year, and so 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, everything that you do here is going to help you, whether you are in one classroom or in 8 classrooms when they get in middle school.
It's not really a tool for the teacher to stand and lecture all day. It's meant to be interactive.
And the lessons learned at Toomer Elementary School are hardly confined to students. These parents are learning to use the same electronic equipment teachers employ to instruct their children during this monthly coffee and conversation session.
Our parent involvement is wonderful. Right now our enrollment is about 170 kids, and we have 120 plus members in our PTA. So those parents come in and they provide support. So a lot of the times when we do our cooking experiments or our experiments in science and our activities in social studies, our parents will come in and facilitate a lot of that.
My children both went to a private Christian school in Decatur for 3 and 4. My daughter actually went to pre-K there. So we decided to move over here because of the environment, and I felt like the pre-K program was comparable to that private school in Decatur. The teachers, again, the classrooms are fun and the teachers are engaging, and I felt that it was apples to apples, so that's why my son's going to the pre-K here. I felt like it was a good decision, a good choice.
Some Toomer parents even show up at school to ensure their children eat a healthy breakfast prior to the start of the school day. And the parenting lesson is picked up by some students just old enough to be in school. It's all part of the rich, nurturing environment here at Toomer Elementary School, where everyone, most especially the students, know they're being well cared for and educated to the highest standards.
I like Toomer like the best out of all the schools I've been to because we get to do more things that are hands-on, and we get more exercise for PE, and all of our lunches are home cooked.
So you feel like you're getting a better education here than you've had elsewhere?
Yes.
Okay.
I like this school best because our school is lower in grade levels, and this school is higher, so I'm learning more things than my other school. And at my other school, I was there for 5 years.
But you prefer this one?
Yes.
Okay.
We were previously at a charter school and really have enjoyed the more traditional APS experience where there's more structure and just know what you're getting, as opposed to maybe with some of the charter schools not always being certain. Even though we did have a good experience with our APS charter school, I'm just really having more experience at a traditional APS school.
Smaller classes result in more focused, individualized attention from pre-kindergarten through 5th grade. Students learn by participating in practical hands-on experiences and by learning from one another using the technology that is available in every classroom.
I've been here for 7 years, and in the last couple of years I've seen things change tremendously. We've had the garden was implemented a couple years ago. We wrote a grant, and then a team of myself and a couple other teachers and parents and the community members all got together. And I think that's what I love most about Toomer, is just the involvement with parents and the community and teachers all working together. And over the last couple of years, that's definitely improved, and I've just seen a tremendous impact on the students in the school.
Between the reading, their basic math skills, and the Chinese program has been wonderful. I mean, they're coming home and talking Chinese now, and it's been very impressive, the development that they've had in such a short period of time.
We are definitely a hidden jewel in Atlanta Public Schools' crown. We are a very small school, so our enrollment allows for there to be a lot more interaction with teachers and students. Our ratios in our classrooms are very exciting to our parents. Also, it's a situation where everybody knows everyone's name. You know, students can identify, even though it's a pretty large facility, students feel warm and comfy and cozy in this environment because everybody kind of knows everybody's name and everybody is accountable for every student's learning.
Nearing the end of the class day, these students are still going strong, absorbing a language that is one of the more difficult for native English language speakers to learn. But through rhyming and repetition, it all seems to come together in a fun and creative fashion.
I like learning how to say different colors, animals, and words.
In Chinese?
Yes. I think it helps me with be able to interact with different types of cultures and stuff like that.
As you saw in one of our Mandarin classes today, that's a very complex language to learn. In addition, it exercises both sides of the brain because of its use of numerical kind of figures and caricatures or characters. It allows the students to think a lot more critically than some of the other Romance languages. And research has shown that it does help in the areas of math and science because of the language and the way that it is taught. We do have a garden that allows the students to go out into the community or into the commons areas to learn and actually experience what they've been learning in the classroom. So it gives them that hands-on opportunity.
So now it's the Tillers' turn.
It's all in a day's work at Toomer Elementary School, where the lessons taught here every day are practical and engaging and effectively prepare students to be lifelong learners.
What is the difference between a solute and a solvent? That is our essential question.
I am a teacher today primarily because of my parents. They made it very clear in our home that education was valuable, education was important, and we didn't really have a choice about whether or not we would go to school or obtain our degrees. It was just what we were going to do.
What do you have for lunch today? Sandwich? What else? What else is on your plate?
It's very important that my students are a part of the whole school. You know, they are Jackson Jaguars too. And so we go to regular education classrooms. We go to the media center. We have lunch in the cafeteria. And the research is very clear about the connection between pairing general education students with their disabled peers and the great gains that are achieved as a result of doing that.
We're doing a lesson all about bones. Who can tell me what you already know about bones?
Even the general education children, they have an opportunity themselves to now teach their disabled peers. And so it's very important that we collaborate effectively and that we work together to employ those inclusive practices.
And she loves her students, and it shows just with the way that she interacts with them.
You know, just the whole visual. You know, my students are extremely sensory.
She's always willing. She's always ready. She's always, Ms. Irvin, whatever you need, let me know. Whatever you need, let me know. And that's just how she's always been that way since she's been here.
She's always has a calm demeanor, even when he does things that are challenging. And she calls me and we talk about it. It's like, okay, he did this, but we can work through this. So that's one of the things that I really appreciate about her, that she's always very focused and she's very resourceful, and whatever suggestions she makes, we're able to communicate. She's an excellent communicator.
Being an effective teacher to me is more than just knowing the pedagogy or knowing your content knowledge. It is really about having a passion for what you do. If you come to work and you love what you do and you're doing what you love, that is when the magic happens. And I'm very fortunate to be in a position where I actually enjoy my work, and I bring that passion and I bring that compassion into the classroom. The secret to success in my classroom is my belief that all children can learn. I don't see their disabilities. I see their abilities. I see what they can do. And so moving from that, I set the standards very high in my classroom. They may not reach the goal, but it is in that attempt that progress is made. Blue. Good job.
Every book is an adventure waiting to come to life. Visit new worlds. Encounter new friends. And discover the power of reading. Go to read.gov to read A Princess of Mars, the first novel to feature John Carter. A new world awaits.